Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. Many of us want to live a fulfilled life, joy, productive. Sometimes we need to get in touch with ourselves and get in touch with others. A little closer connection. We're going to talk with somebody today who offers many different modalities, from body work, i.e. energy healing, to intimacy coaching, and so much more. She's also got a yet-to-be-published book that's got a lot of insight, and it's great to have her with us today. Elaine Miles joins us on the program. How you doing?
Well, fine, Steve. Thanks for asking.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here. You are an intimacy coach. I could attempt to explain what that is.
Okay.
I'm going to throw it, but I'm not. I'm going to throw it to you. What exactly is an intimacy coach?
Well, actually, it's a form of life coaching. And so the idea is to identify what's causing a person to be stuck and then get to the root cause of it. And once that is uncovered, we can employ some strategies to move forward. So it's basically... And basically, I decided through my practice in Tantra that many men had concerns, sexual ones, and felt safe, in sharing them with me. So when I got my certification as a life coach, I decided that that was an area that I was going to solely focus upon, and began using the term intimacy coaching before it had ever really been out there. And now it is out there more. But at the time, back in, this goes back 12 years, I, had never heard of it before. I was just following what I always do, which is to follow what makes me feel most authentic and what makes me feel most inspired. And so I just go with the inspiration, and then I seek out training if I can find it. If not, I will, just put it out there, really, because I feel like it's inspired, so therefore it needs to be shared. I'm a life artist, and that's what I do. I share things that come down the pike.
Would you say that an intimacy coach there's some parallels between, let's say, a sex therapist?
Well, the difference is that with me, I have explored the world of kink. I have explored Tantra. I have gone on my own journey and to overcome shame. And so I have advantages that a traditional sex therapist does. She doesn't have these bag of tools. So it's and also I come from a holistic perspective, which is that the energy body is extremely important. The energy body being composed of chakras and blockages in them, and how emotions affect the energy body. So, I come with a different bag of tools.
So why don't we dig a little bit deeper into intimacy, and any example you can give that what might be holding somebody back, let's say.
Sure. I can give you an example.
Sure.
Well, one client visited me because he had erectile dysfunction. And so, I we sit across from each other and have a conversation. And I ask questions that I need to ask to peel away the layers of the onion until I can get a good sense of a connection between the erectile dysfunction and what's going on in his life. So we did that. We had a conversation. And he hadn't realized that through his many casual sexual encounters, there was one woman that he met at a bar and went back to her place. And he had a strong inclination to leave, but he didn't heed that. And instead he stayed and he did have sex. And so it was about a few days later that his erections became weaker. So you see, I was able to pinpoint that he was with an intoxicated woman that he already was picking up on her energy. And his higher self or his intuition was saying, this is a no-go, stay away. He did, and with not heeding that, he went ahead. And so he made himself vulnerable to an energy that was toxic for him.
Wow.
So, and so then the strategy, we have to have a strategy. So for him, the strategy was to forgive himself, to truly humble himself, that he put himself, in a situation that was not serving his highest good. It was it compromised his integrity, which also lives in the energy body. And as a result, he depleted his life force. And the life force is where erections, sexual energy, that energy center is all about life force. So by having intercourse, he really wounded a part of himself. So, but good news, we did realize this together, and he was able to embrace humility and self-forgiveness, and he got well. That's why I call it quantum healing, because sometimes it just takes one session.
Amazing how that just one scenario changed his life and gave him challenges. And I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking more of a situation where he might have been with somebody, couldn't perform at that moment, for whatever reason. Maybe he had a couple of beers too many, and it made an imprint on him. But knowing the energy, and interestingly, you could have somebody saying, yeah, I just want to get together with you. Let's go meet here. And nothing physical has taken place, but your gut could be saying, yeah, it's not good. But on the other half, you might be saying, yeah, but why not? Just go for it, man. But your higher self is saying, you know this isn't good. What are you trying to do here? And now, well, you know what? A perfect example. Yeah, you'll know the one, the devil and the angel. The devil and the angel, right?
Yeah, and, in our society, unfortunately, we're not taught to really pay attention to our intuition. So, it's understandable that we tend to not really know that that's wisdom that's communicating with us. That's our essence. But we shrug it off a lot of times, even driving down a road, and we have that voice that says, you might want to turn here, and we shrug it off and we keep going. And then we're sitting in traffic because there was an accident. The littlest things.
Yep.
So if so I have learned to heed my intuition. And as a matter of fact, that's a big part of when I listen to somebody is to pay attention to what information, the connections that are being made, and the insights I'm receiving, because they too are coming from my higher self. And that's a that's a huge difference between me and a sex therapist. They're right there.
Well, totally, because the sex therapist is going to try and get in your head, as they should, and kind of see your life path, what's going on there. They're not looking at energy.
No, not at all. They have Western medicine has a very narrow focus, unfortunately.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So what do you think it was about this woman that zapped his energy, took his energy? What was going on there?
Well, when you have intercourse with someone, you are vulnerable to their emotional state. So I surmised that, and he knew that she was in a very precarious state. She was having a lot of conflicts. First of all, he met her and she was intoxicated. So alcohol and the energy system, no go. You're never, you got to stay away from the alcohol, guys and girls. If you want to live more in line with your essence, your integrity, and getting in touch with your tuition so that you have clarity and focus. And so, that's my pedestal for alcohol. But so she was already drinking to the point of intoxication.
Right.
And that in and of itself lowers, everyone has a frequency. So that right there, her frequency was extremely low.
Wow. Personal
conflicts she was holding on to, blocking her energy centers. And he just went into it was as if her energy was like a dark sludge, like a tar. And he, shared that with what he embraced, that tar, that dark, that heaviness. And the penis does have an intelligence. And so it was just too much for it. It just overwhelmed it. Wow. To a point where, and then also, there's the integrity factor that, why would you do this to me? Why would you put me in this environment? So, so that's why self-forgiveness was the perfect vehicle. So he could, make a vow only to be with people that he really felt a heart connection.
It's so interesting when you look at it that some may view it as, well, lots of partners. It's going to boost my confidence. It's going to make me feel good. What, male or female, doesn't matter. And that's going to even make things better for the next one. But we don't consider the energy and what's going on there.
Yeah. And, I share that. I mean, in my story, if we get a chance, I'll read a little bit from one of my stories. And yeah, I was quite hypersexual at a certain phase. Mm-hmm. And this was before I knew about energy myself. So yeah, and I did get myself into a downward spiral.
A lot of times we go, let's say you get divorced, so you go on a tear, and it's just, mm-hmm. let's have fun. But, mm-hmm. There's also, many of us don't want to adhere to this, but the body is a temple and you need to respect yourself. And while all of it looks good from the outside, there's a lot going on there, especially with energy that we're not realizing. And I'm plugged into energy. It's been very impactful in my journey, but let's put it this way. In terms of what we're talking about, in my mind, I put it at maybe 30% of what's going on there when it's an intimate relationship. That's me.
Oh.
After
mm-hmm.
hearing this, hello there, 90%.
Yeah, well, I think if it were in the mainstream, I always say, if pop culture embraced it, we'd all know about it.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to do a TikTok video.
But there's a reason. There's a reason pop culture, movies, and TV don't embrace this, because it empowers people. People no longer would feel the need to be purchasing things left and right to fill an emptiness. They would find fulfillment by spending time with someone who they resonated with. And it doesn't mean you have to have the same things in common even. Sure. You don't have, that's really, the main thing is your value system, and that's related to energy. Yeah.
So what's your suggestion? Let's say somebody is single and maybe they're dating and they want to make the right choice of who they're going to connect physically with. Is it just going on your intuition?
Well, the intuition is a huge part, but time is a major factor, and pacing.
How do you mean?
As you date someone, you don't want you want things to be paced. You don't want to go fast. You want to meet for coffee a few times. Maybe you'll meet for dinner. You want to meet and get to know the person before there's any, even if you feel, sometimes chemistry can be dangerous because chemistry is a familiar, you may have grown up with a dysfunctional dynamic or may have come from a dysfunctional marriage. But that dynamic is an energy that's familiar to you. You may think it's great to have chemistry with someone, but what you're picking up on is a familiar dynamic.
Sure.
So you date this person thinking chemistry, great. And then you may find out that chemistry is the chemistry that you want to move away from. That dynamic is the dynamic that you are trying to heal from. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you have to be careful about chemistry. And so that's why in dating, to answer your question, get to know a person, give a person a chance. Let's throw away this consumerism about their appearance being so perfect and all these other things we put on a list. Let's just embrace the fact that we're sharing time with someone, and that's it in a nut. And then we share some more time. And maybe again we're going to share time with that person and appreciating that we're out of the house and we're sharing time with another human being. And bring your heart into it and enjoy yourself, relax, and drop the expectations. They're going to come. That's the way we work. They're going to come up, and you can just notice them, that they're coming up. And when you notice them, then the little devils, get weaker.
Well, to your point there about the familiarity, you could be with somebody and you feel connected to them, and especially there's a connection physically and you're liking it, you're loving it, but it might remind you of a past relationship that you need to heal from, but it feels good because I don't know why, but I like it. There's something here.
It's familiar, and the familiar always feels good, and it's a false sense of security. Yeah. It's really, because you have, if you have had abuse or you have grown up with it or been in a marriage with it, like I have, you really have to spend a lot of time on yourself with learning who you are. Self-awareness has to be, number one.
Sure. That
has to be a journey you have to take. And usually you need to take it with a professional. I've combined different things. I've gone to energy workers, traditional therapy. I love to read certain information that's going to help me grow and that's going to help me have more insights and see what it is about my behavior that I can. You're just learning who you are. I have a book. If you like, this is Carl Jung talks about the shadow side. Can I read this?
Yeah, just going to tell you we have a couple of minutes, so
okay.
Let's do it.
Well, this is called the shadow self. Carl Jung described the shadow self as that part of ourselves we attempt to deny, that we cast into the shadows of our own psyche or being. The act of denying or hiding a quality from myself can actually strengthen it inside of me. There are also positive aspects of myself that I sit on, my unlived lives or qualities that I wish to allow myself but can't for some reason. Something gets in the way of my free expression. When I don't allow myself these, I may feel jealous of someone who enjoys and expresses them because secretly I wish to do the same. Owning and exploring my own shadow requires that I be willing to know myself fully. When I deny parts of myself, I deny soul along with them because soul functions in all of me. When I bring my shadowy depths into a conscious level, I release the energy of my soul and my personality operates more efficiently and effectively. Knowing your darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people.
Wow. It really comes down to knowing who you are. And
it does.
It's a journey. And I believe we think we know who we are, but we really don't.
There is always a layer to uncover.
Yeah.
about ourselves, and we need to question every belief we have and where it came from and who told us it, and does it serve us anymore, or is it just something I am thinking I believe because I grew up that way? We need to question our traditions. Everything is up for questioning in order to find what's authentic for you.
Sure. It's a journey.
It is. It's a quest.
Yes. Well, I feel.
And that's why my book is called Raising Elaine with a Z. And it is a shero's journey, overcoming a lot of different obstacles and sharing them publicly. It's with no shame.
And
so
I
there's a
appreciate
website.
that. I appreciate that because I feel that we learn from others. That's how it all takes place. What's the best way, Elaine, to find you?
You can Google my name, Elaine Miles with an I. You'll come up. You'll find my website, which is Tymes, SOULTYMES.com.
Wonderful talking with
you.
you.
I have phone sessions and in person. It can be anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure you can do virtual too with somebody.
Yeah, virtual sessions for sure. Yeah.
Fantastic talking with you. No energy, have studied it. It's a quest to continue to study it. Had no idea it was so greatly connected to intimacy. Whoa. I think a lot of us have a lot of thinking to do based on what we talked about here. And next time we get together, let's talk about that body work and really apply that energy in that direction.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, Steve, for having me.
Thanks for being here, Elaine. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Suffering from ED, living in a sexless marriage, reeling from religious dogma and sexual shame? None of these are pleasant. There are ways to move beyond such concerns. Hi, my name is Elaine Miles, and I'm an intimacy coach. We can meet virtually with the ease of knowing that privacy is ensured. Visit my website, soultymes.com, or call 267-934-4849. Begin to ease your burden today.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.